I had a dream the other night, and in this dream, we're going to call the woman who I refer to as my friend Anita. Okay. I don't know what her name was in the dream, but we're going to refer to her as Anita. So I came to some restaurant with Anita, and I was telling her about someone at my job who slept with the boss to get the job, and how my son's father had said that the woman didn't do that. Now, as she and I were having this conversation, we were talking over a woman who was sitting at a table and she was reading a book. And as I was saying that, I told her, that I told my son's dad, how would you know? Were you there when she was sleeping with the boss? And the woman who was sitting at the table, her mouth dropped. I mean, she was like, oh my goodness. She was invested in this conversation that we were having. And so I happened to look down at the book that she was reading. And it was a book by, I believe the author is Valerie Byrne, A Cup of Sugar and a Pinch of Spice. I think that's the name of it. It's the one that has the red cover. And so it was so funny because the lady was like in shock. She was so invested. And so then I told the woman who was reading the book, we're going to call her Lindsay. So I told Lindsay that I had read this series and I had loved it, the one by Valerie Burns, because I have read all three books. And then she mentioned another series that I had read, and she began talking to me about books on her tablet. She mentioned another series, or I saw a series on her tablet. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like either Cat Skill or Cat Skit or Cat Slid, something with the word cat in it. But the covers were of books that I've read. They were just with different titles. So the woman sitting across from Lindsay handed her phone to Anita, my friend, a complete stranger. Anita did not know who this woman was, but she handed her her phone, and on her phone was pulled up Yah's laws, right? And it wasn't the Bible app. It was, I don't know what it was called. Or I don't know what it was that she was looking at. I don't know if it was like a an app or a PDF or a book, but it was, I know it wasn't the Bible. And at that time when she handed her the phone, and I noticed that we were all wearing very short shorts, including the woman who handed Anita the phone. I was like, oh, okay. And when she said y'all's laws, I was like, well, first of all, we're not supposed to be having shorts on. And then for you to be telling her about y'all's law, but you have on these hoochie shorts, who are you to talk? Who are you to judge? Right. So my friend Anita, she said, yep, we should be following the law. Then she began to play a song that I originally thought was a gospel song, but it wasn't a gospel song. When I woke up, I had to look it up. I was like, what is this song that has these lyrics? And it was the song Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. And the whole thing about this dream is Yah was basically reprimanding me for gossiping, right? Because that's what Anita and I were doing as we were coming in this restaurant, and we were gossiping in front of other people who were listening in on this conversation. Now, granted, these people probably didn't know who I was talking about when I was saying my coworker, because I never said the woman's name. And then I never said my son's dad's name in the dream. And so the thing about gossiping is, where is the line in between venting and gossiping? When does venting turn into gossiping, right? And the thing is, there's been a person in my life who's very close to me who she has been venting to me about a situation that's going on, that she's involved in. And at some point, it turns from her venting to us gossiping about these people. And not only that, I have also been pulled into gossip and rumors in a situation that I actually have nothing to do with. So that is one thing that Yah always talks about, especially in the New Testament with Paul, gossiping. Don't say things that you don't have facts about. Don't say things that you know nothing about. And don't talk about people behind their backs. That is gossip, right? But the thing is, there's like a blurred line between venting and gossiping. And it's like, when does one become the other? Because it is okay to vent your frustrations. Sometimes you have to vent and get out like what you're feeling and things that are happening to you. But within that venting, we do have to try to refrain from talking about a person who's not there to defend themselves. Granted, yes, we're talking about what they're doing to us, and what they're doing, to other people, but at some point it becomes gossip. It's no longer venting. And I have been guilty of participating in gossiping with confirming how this person feels, confirming, the behavior of this other person and what they're doing. And then now that I've been pulled into it and I actually have not even done anything, it's like now there's gossip about me. And it's kind of like that thing where, karma, right? What goes around comes around. What you do to other people is what will also be done to you, right? And that's what, Yah talks about that in the prophets. What all these other nations did to Yasharel will be done to them tenfold, right? So, y'all, we have to be careful with the things that come out of our mouth, especially when it comes to talking about other people and those people are not there to defend themselves or give their side of the story. There's always multiple sides of the story. So you can't take what someone tells you at face value and just run with it. Can't just jump on the bandwagon and start, demeaning this person when you only have one person's side of the story. And the thing about the books, right? How I just got sidetracked and started talking to this woman about books. And that's the thing we have to do. Like when you know that someone's venting to you, but then it like starts to sound like gossip, change the subject. Change the subject and start talking about something else completely. Just change the subject. And the thing is, the woman, she didn't even change the subject. I got sidetracked because she's reading a book that I've read and she has a tablet and there's other books on there that I've read and we start just talking about books. And that's what needs to happen when there's gossip, when you're sitting there listening to someone and it's gossip, that they're not just venting, that they're sitting here talking trash about someone, change the subject. Don't continue to sit there and listen to them and then involve yourself in the conversation and start saying things about this person when you only have what this one person in front of you is telling you. You don't have the other side of the story. Now, in my case, with the person I've been gossiping with, I hate that. I hate that I've been gossiping. I actually do know both sides of the story. I do know both sides. I do know these things for a fact. It's not that we're just talking about this person, but even though I do know both sides of the story and I do know everything that happened, I still should not be talking about this person, especially since they're not there. Having this conversation is not productive. It is not edifying to the body. Therefore, I have to change the subject. And I have been good about doing that for so long. As soon as I start hearing someone gossip, I immediately change the subject. But I've fallen back into the habit of gossiping along with the person. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's not fun. It's not a good feeling. And I feel bad and have to repent afterwards. And the thing is, you don't want to be in a situation to where you're consistently having to repent afterwards. If you're consistently having to repent, you're doing something wrong. You are sinning. You are sinning. Gossip is absolutely a sin. And I think a lot of people don't think about that and they don't feel like gossiping is a sin, but it is because you're talking about somebody. The things that are coming out of your mouth, it's not, like I said, edifying, right? It's not conducive. It's not constructive. How is that glorifying Yah? By talking about somebody, talking about one of his children. How is that glorifying him? It's not. Yeah, he definitely did, give me a little spanking in my dream and made me realize, like, no, I have to stop. I cannot continue to do this. So remember, stop gossiping.